open on a visual journey through space and time as Loki and Sylvie arrive at a castle on the other side of the door they opened. The door opens and the two enter. They are greeted by Miss Minutes, who welcomes them to the Citadel at the end of time. She tells them that he who remains is impressed. He who created all and he controls all. At the end, it is only he that remains. Minutes tells them that they can be returned to the sacred timeline without causing a Nexus event. She tells Loki that he can win not only in New York, but can also kill Thanos to obtain the Infinity Gauntlet and return to the throne of Asgard. She tells Sylvie that she can go with him and have only happy memories. She promises them the lives they've always wanted. Sylvie and Loki doubt her. She wishes them luck and disappears. Ravonna waits on the TVA files to be downloaded and notices a ring on her table where Mobius had placed his mug. Miss Minutes appears and tells her that she got her the necessary files. Loki and Sylvie advance with their guard up to confront he who remains. They walk into a room with statues on pedestals. An elevator bell rings and a man walks out carrying a green apple. He who remains invites the two Lokis to talk in his office. Loki identifies the being as just a man. He concedes that he is merely flesh and blood. Sylvie tries to kill him, but he is able to use his device to reset himself to safety. He then disappears as the elevator reaches his office. He invites them in. He pours them drinks and offers them seats. Mobius surprises Ravonna. Ravonna tells him that she had to prune him in order to keep him from stopping their mission, as the timekeepers dictated it. She calls in a hunter to deal with Mobius, but he shows her her pen that he used to sign the file on Loki, and tells her that the hunters won't be taking orders from her any longer. We then see B-15 at a high school in Fremont, Ohio. She is being pursued by Minupin to the office where Ravonna's pen came from. The woman who became Judge Ravonna Renslayer walks into the room. She tells him they have a lot to talk about. In the Citadel, he who remains talks with the Lokis. He admires their perseverance. Sylvie tries to attack him, but misses again. He takes out 2 sheets and tells them they can't kill him, because he already knows what's going to happen. They are live scripts like the one Loki had to sign in episode 1. He asks Sylvie how he would know to have everything in his temper to keep from being killed by the two of them. He tells them he has seen everything they did, including everything the TVA didn't, including the Loki's attraction toward one another. He tells them that he set the road for them to walk to in order to get to him. He asks Sylvie if she thinks she can trust Loki, or anyone at all. Mobius tells Ravonna that he knows the TVA is a lie. He objects to the pruning. Ravonna tells Mobius that pruning the timeline prevents chaos and death. Mobius counters that it takes away free will. Ravonna scoffs at the very concept, saying that the only one who truly has free will is the one in charge. Ravonna frantically packs her briefcase as Mobius confronts her on betraying him. She opens a time panel. Mobius tries to prune her, but she easily disarms him. Rather than prune him again, she walks through the time panel, as she says, in search of free will. He who remains admits to his deceptive methods, but assures Loki and Sylvie that without the TVA, everything would burn. Loki asks what he's so afraid of. He says, Sylvie asks who he is, and he tells them he has been dubbed many names. A ruler, a conqueror, he who remains, a jerk, but it's not as simple as a name. He opens his tempad to reveal a mimetic polyalloy liquid metal being to tell the story. Eons before the TVA, a variant of He Who Remains was a scientist on Earth in the 31st century who discovered that there were universes stacked on top of his own. With several variants existing at the same time, they all eventually discovered this and began encountering one another throughout the timelines. For a time there was peace, but it was narcissistic, self-congratulatory peace. Most of them worked together, but not every variant was so nice. The variants seeking to conquer new worlds began to fight, starting the timeline war that Miss Minutes described in episode 1. He tells them how he was the only variant to encounter Alioth, a creature capable of consuming time and space itself. He experimented on it and was able to weaponize Alioth to end the multiversal war. After that, He Who Remains isolated the timeline and chose to monitor it in order to prevent any further branches or nexus events, thus creating the TVA and the mythology of the Timekeepers. He tells them that if they think he's evil, wait until they meet his variants. Sylvie calls him a liar. He offers them to take over rather than kill him and let chaos ensue. Loki asks why, and he answers that he is tired and older than he looks. A thunder crash is heard, and He Who Remains becomes concerned. He tells them they just crossed the threshold. He then becomes concerned as he no longer knows what is going to happen. He tells them that they can either take over for him and maintain the sacred timeline, or kill him. He tells them the honesty feels like a fresh start. Sylvie goes to kill him, but Loki stops her. The two fight. Loki tells her that he thinks he who remains is telling the truth. Loki expresses concern for unleashing something worse if they kill he who remains. He suggests they think about it. Loki tells Sylvie that she is unable to trust, and he cannot be trusted. Sylvie attacks Loki, and the two fight using their magic. Sylvie accuses Loki of wanting power before going for the kill. He tells her that he doesn't want to hurt her. He doesn't want the throne, he just wants her to be okay. She kisses him and tells him that she isn't him before pushing him through a time panel. She takes the tempad and confronts he who remains. She stabs him through the heart. He tells her he'll see her soon before dying. Now all alone, Sylvie sits back on the floor as the timeline continues to branch further and further. Mobius and B-15 watch from the TVA as the Nexus events all branch irreversibly through the red line. Loki sits in a room in the TVA and considers the situation before leaving. He walks through the TVA in search of Mobius and B-15. He tells them they can't stop the branches. Mobius and B-15 do not recognize Loki as this is a different timeline. Loki recognizes the Timekeeper statue now bears the resemblance of he who remains.